Okay, now that we have sewn, we pinned across this raw edges, our pretty side is in the side inside of our tunnel right here. We've pinned across and we've sewn 1/4 inch seam allowance. Now what we're gonna do, you're gonna get one of these big safety pins from your teacher, and we want to start, I would recommend starting on the small side. What you're gonna do is just stick it right through the tip. Don't get too close to either of the edges. And we're just going to slide the safety pin right through the tunnel. Obviously, the hardest part to get through is going to be right here in the center where the neck of the tie is nice and skinny, but it should go relatively easy. You just kind of have to be patient with yourself. You're just simply going to slip right through the center of the tunnel and pull the fabric over itself, essentially. Squish for about 1 inch and pull the tie over. The straighter you sew, the straighter you cut, the easier this is. You'll notice this is going relatively quickly. It shouldn't be a super slow process. You're just gradually pushing the fabric over the safety pin and pulling the fabric over itself. You'll notice we're getting to the point where we're starting to get to the thick part, which is a really, really easy section to get through. We're just going to continually pull the tie over itself. Just scrunching the width of the safety pin over and over. In fact, at this point, we can just reach inside and grab the safety pin, and we pull the fabric right side out. So now that ugly seam that's starting to get all frayed and everything is on the inside of our tunnel and never to be seen again. If you matched up your fabric really well when you sewed that last seam, you won't have any holes going along this side. Now we're ready to take this pin out and to do essentially what's going to be your final pressing. We're going to start on the thick end of our tie. It's best if you can get those seams separated, but that gets kind of challenging. So what we do want to do is we want to make sure that we are getting the seam going down, lining up with our point so that we've got a centered tie. And we're just going to press this seam all the way down. And you might need to just kind of adjust and tweak your fabric a little bit so that it's going right down the center of your tie. And I'm just going to kind of finger press here to start with. It's easiest to push the seam allowance so it's all going one direction. So I'm pushing my seam so it's all, the seam allowance on the inside, so it's all going towards, away from me. It's best if you can get it pressed flat, but that's probably not going to happen. So we're just going to work our way across. I'm not so much worried about the edges of the tie at this point as I am that seam. I just want to get that seam nice and flat, and now I can press out to my sides and get the edges of my tie as it comes up toward the neck portion so that they are nice and crisp. We want to start on the ugly side and then we'll flip it over and do the pretty side. You'll notice it's making a huge, huge difference. You can definitely tell a difference between this and this. Our seam is going right down the center of our tie. My stripes are going to be nice and horizontal, and you just kind of want to keep pressing till you've got a nice solid point and crisp edges. Let the fabric cool a little bit and continue working your way down the tie. Okay, so I have worked my way across my entire tie. You want to keep that seam in the center just as close as you can so that when you get to the other side, you do have a centered point. You'll notice this neck part, the center part, is by far the hardest part to get through because this is where those original seams were at. So just kind of be aware of that. It's a little bit bulky through that area. Do the best you can. Guys, this final pressing is pretty important to getting a nicely pressed and a nicely shaped tie. Plan your time accordingly. Don't save all of this pressing step for the last 30 seconds before your presentation. Make sure that you are getting your steps done as they are needed. Good luck, guys.